Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I've been doing my foundation and my current foundation routine. I finally found something that I think really works for me. If you guys have been following me for a while, my skin has definitely gone through a pretty big change over the past few years. If you guys watched me from the beginning, you know that I was very oily, very acne prone, and the first foundation routine that I ever did about two and a half years ago now on my channel was for oily and acne prone skin. So if you guys want to go check that out, I will have it linked right up here. It's an old video when I was filming on my iPhone and stuff, but if you guys want a sense of kind of how I did my foundation when my skin was more oily and acne prone, definitely go feel free to check that video out. But today we are going to be doing my current foundation routine for more normal to a slightly oily skin. My skin has definitely been leaning more on the normal side lately. I wouldn't say I get excessively oily or excessively dry. My skin is just pretty normal and I have cleared it up, so I'm not really worried about covering a lot of acne and stuff like that. So if you guys want to see an updated skincare routine and how I've actually cleared up my skin and how I prep my skin, definitely let me know, and that is something that I could also do for you guys. But today we are just going to be focusing on the actual foundation and the products. So my foundation routine is mostly drugstore. There are a couple of high-end products that are just holy grails of mine when it comes to my foundation routine, so I'm going to be showing you guys all of that today, but I will be showing you guys drugstore alternatives if I do have one, or if I have found one for the high-end products that I do use on my face daily. As always, if you guys have any questions about this video or my foundation routine, please feel free to ask me in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys and interacting with you guys in the comments, and I believe that is it. So definitely make sure you guys like this video if you do enjoy, and subscribe to my channel before you leave, and let's just go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing that I always like to do before I start my foundation is pin back my hair. I either use hair clips or I'll use a headband or something like that. I just have pretty long hair and it always falls in my face. So I'm just gonna take two claw clips and clip them back like that. These probably will fall out throughout the video if you guys see me playing with them. My hair is just so fine that it kind of just slips right through the clip. That rhymed, didn't mean for that to happen. So I do have already my skincare on my face. The only thing that I did today was kind of wash my face, and then I used my CeraVe moisturizing cream. I don't remember to do this every single day. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I just remembered to do this because I was like, oh, I'm filming a video, let me do my moisturizer, but I literally always forget to do this step. So just keeping it real with you guys, I don't moisturize my skin every morning, but I do moisturize it and do a full skincare routine every single night. As always, we are going to starting off the foundation routine with some facial sprays. These are just the key. These are so important to me in my foundation routine, and every time I do my makeup, I just feel like something's missing when I don't use my facial sprays. I find that they really help. I know a lot of people think that they're gimmicky. I know a lot of people say that the primer water is just kind of like water in a bottle, but ever since I started using it, I just feel like it makes a huge difference in my skin and in the base underneath my foundation, and I've gone through like 4 or 5 of these. So I'm gonna be starting off with using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. So this is a set and refresh spray, and you can also use this under your makeup as a primer. And I just love products like this. I feel like it really adds an extra layer of hydration to my skin, really soaks into the skin nicely. It provides such an amazing base for anything else you're putting on your skin. When I don't wear this and I forget to put on my primer water, I feel like my foundation fades really quickly. But I know this is a little bit more of a pricey product, so I did want to go ahead and give you guys an alternative. Wet n Wild did just release a Photo Focus Primer Water Spray. This isn't an exact dupe. I don't find this to be just as amazing as the primer water, but I do find that it works almost just as good, and it definitely is the same concept. One thing that I don't like about this spray is the mister is so light. I feel like I have to spray a lot of product to get the amount of soaking that I want on my face. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell. It's just a very light mist. I don't even know if it's picking up on camera. It's a really light mist, and it kind of squirts close to the thing. So the spray is just not the best, but the actual product that's in here, besides the smell, it smells a little bit like baby wipes, which I don't like. But the actual product itself, I feel like does make a difference underneath my foundation. Again, I don't think it's as amazing as the Photo Finish Primer Water by Smashbox, but I definitely do think it's a good alternative if you guys are looking to test out primer waters and you are on a budget. I would definitely go go ahead and give the Wet n Wild one a try. I have worn this a few times and I have to say my makeup wore really nicely on top. It looked really smooth and this felt nice on my skin. Definitely not as soaking or as hydrating as the primer water, but similar concept if you guys want the drugstore alternative. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start by spraying the primer water on my face. And I always do like to double up on the facial spray just to really prep my skin and add that extra layer of hydration, because a lot of the times I do forget to moisturize in the morning. So then I'm just going to be going in with the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. This is what I find really moisturizes the skin. The Smashbox primer water almost leaves a bit of a tacky base, so your foundation is going to stick to it. This is definitely more moisturizing and refreshing under the skin and leaves like a luminous glow. I do have an alternative to Fix Plus to show you guys though that is a drugstore option, and that is the Catrice Long Lasting Prime and Fine Multi-Talent Fixing Spray. This stuff is so good and so similar to Fix Plus. I've heard really good things about this, so I figured I would just try it out myself, and as you guys can see, I got this maybe like a month ago and I already used almost half of it. It's just a really good product. I've used this underneath my makeup, I've used this on top of my makeup, and this reminds me so much of the Fix Plus. It really feels the same on the skin. It gives the same effect when you spray it on top of your makeup. It breaks down any of that powderiness that you're going to be feeling on your makeup, and it also adds that glow and like a little bit of a luminosity and a fresh natural look to your skin and your makeup if you use it on top. So this is definitely an awesome drugstore alternative to Fix Plus if you guys are looking for that. I believe that this bottle is $25 now, maybe something like that. I got this bottle around $7 or $8 at Ulta's. When it comes to actually priming the skin, my holy grail favorite primer has been the Fenty Beauty Soft Matte Pro Filter Primer. Close to a year now I've been using this primer and I instantly fell in love with this. I've said this a million times on my channel. I don't know why this is called Soft Matte, because I feel like this is the most perfect in between natural looking primer that makes your skin look really healthy and like a little bit glowy if anything. So I definitely don't find this to mattify me. So I like to take about 2 pumps of this primer, and this is the primer that I'm going to be applying all over the skin. And you guys are gonna see it just adds like an extra level of liveliness to the skin and it smooths everything out. So here's my skin after the primer. You guys just see it leaves such a nice natural glow to the skin, but not necessarily dewy. It's just a very healthy and natural and plump looking effect without being overly dewy or shiny, and it's definitely not mattifying on my skin at all. So now I always like to double up on a lot of the products that I use. So I doubled up on the sprays, and now I like to double up on the face primers as well. You guys definitely don't need to do any of these steps. I'm just extra, and I like how this routine is working for me. So now typically I would go in with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. If you guys want an exact dupe for this, go for the e.l.f. Mineral Infused Primer. These two products are seriously the exact same thing, and I use these pretty much interchangeably. I really don't see a difference. If I put these on both sides of my face, they are identical products. So the e.l.f. Mineral Infused Primer is definitely an awesome alternative. This big bottle is $10, but they have these smaller bottles for $6, and I believe this tube is $32. So this is definitely a really great dupe, a really great savings for you guys. The e.l.f. Mineral Infused is the way to go if you guys want the drugstore alternative. So I'm actually going to be using the e.l.f. one today. So I'm just going to take a little bit, maybe like a pea size amount like that. It's just a typical clear silicone primer. This I don't put all over my skin. This I really like to focus on the T-zone where I feel like I have the most texture. This is going to really smooth everything out and give that airbrushed finish. So for the actual foundation now, I have been totally head over heels in love with the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour foundation. Maybelline foundations to me have always been a huge favorite of mine. I definitely think that drugstore is definitely, like, drugstore brands do foundations well, and that is something that I don't feel the need to spend $30, $40, $50 on, is a high-end foundation. I just feel like the drugstore does foundations so well, especially Maybelline, and this one is my current favorite at the moment. I do still love my Maybelline Matte and Poreless foundation. There's just something about this Superstay full coverage that really is crazy full coverage. It lasts such a long time on the skin, and the finish is not too matte, it's not too dewy or or glowy. It is just the most perfect in between. And my favorite way to apply that foundation would be with my L'Oreal Infallible Face Blender sponge. This is the best sponge ever, and this is also from the drugstore. This retails for around $6 or $7 depending on where you get this from. It is just so squishy and bouncy. You definitely don't need a lot of this foundation either, so that's another reason why I love it. It lasts a long time. I would say maybe day to day. I use 1.5 to 2 pumps on my face. You don't need much. So I'm gonna start off with that much foundation, and then I'm just gonna start really buffing this into the skin. I like to press my foundation. I don't like to really swipe because I feel like you get the most coverage when you just bounce and press the foundation into the skin. Always make sure to take your foundation a little bit down your neck, just so you don't get that line. And if you do have like a little bit of a different coloring on your ears or right in your hairline, it's really important to blend back there too, so your foundation looks as natural as possible and not like you're wearing a mask. I forgot to mention to you guys that I do wear the shade 120 Classic Ivory in the Maybelline Superstay. If you are looking for your shade in the Superstay and you are comparing it to your shade in the Fit Me, it's definitely going to be a little bit darker in the Superstay. I would suggest going up a shade or maybe getting your shade and then the shade before and mixing them together. That's what I have to do sometimes. I did just get a little bit of a tan, so 120 matches me right now, but usually this would be just a little bit too dark and yellow on me, whereas the 120 in the Fit Me matches me perfectly. That is one layer of the foundation. What I like to do is just take a little bit more foundation on the sponge, and I do have a little bit of scarring on my cheeks, so I just like to take a second layer of the foundation just on the spots that I need it. I don't feel like I need to put it all over my face, but just hitting some of my problem areas for a little bit of that extra coverage. Also, just a tip, when I am doing my foundation, I don't know if you guys noticed, I didn't put any foundation under my eyes because of course I'm going to be putting concealer there, so I don't want there to be too many layers of product, especially underneath the eye. That is an area that can get cakey quick, so I avoided the foundation all along this area. So I have been using a couple different concealers interchangeably. This is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin, and I have mine in the shade 10 Ivory. Also, of course, I'm still loving my Tarte Shape Tape, and then my Catrice Liquid Camouflage in the shade 00 Light Natural. So what I actually have been doing lately is just mixing the Better Skin and the Catrice concealer, because I have been really liking the combination of these, and the coverage under the eye is great. So I'm just going to be placing the Maybelline Better Skin right underneath my eye. I do like my concealer to be a few shades lighter than my foundation, but this one, like I said, just has a little bit more of that neutral, slightly warmer peach undertone. So it's just gonna complement that area right under my eye a little bit better. And I'm just using that same exact concealer to highlight the center of my face. This is going to just balance everything out a little bit. And then this is the Catrice concealer, and just hitting the bottom portions right here. It is a little bit lighter, as you guys can see, so this is just going to emphasize the actual highlight on this face. I do like to let the concealer underneath my eyes sit for a couple of seconds, so I like to start off with the concealer on the rest of my face. Sometimes getting right in that inner corner of the eye is a little bit hard with the sponge, so I just like to press it in with my ring finger or my middle finger. Whatever finger you have works. The most crucial part to me when it comes to long-lasting and smooth-looking makeup is setting powder. I'm definitely not the type of person that cannot set my face. To me, the foundation and the concealer just feel like they're gonna slip off my face. They just feel so uncomfortable, and I love the smooth and airbrushed look that just adding a little bit of powder really adds to the skin, and I love how it looks. So my favorite powder is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. I've been reaching for this more than any other powder in my collection. I've been reaching for this way more than my Laura Mercier powder, which I never ever thought that I would say. This one just is a little bit lighter, a little bit more finely milled. I always like to start off with setting my under eyes first, and I like using just a little pointed buffer brush like this, just dipping into a little bit of the powder. I don't like to put too much powder on my under eyes because then it will look a little bit dry. Just pressing the powder up onto the under eye and setting where I put that concealer. And then I also like to go in and set my nose, almost like a mini bake on my nose. Any foundation that I use really has trouble staying on my nose, so I just like to do almost like a mini bake and just really press the product in around my nose to make sure that is nice and set, and then also anywhere else where I applied that concealer. To finish off setting the rest of my face, I just like to use a typical powder brush. I get so many questions on this powder brush, and I got it from Rite Aid, you guys. I don't know if they still have this brush, but that is what the brush is. It is the Rite Aid Renewal brand, and I don't think that they have it anymore, but you guys can find powder brushes like this anywhere. So I'm just going to lightly dust the powder on the rest of my face. Like I said, I just have to set my face, especially if it's hot out. I just don't want the product to really break down. And also, if I'm gonna be applying bronzer and blush and everything like that, I just feel like the powders apply better on top of a powder. So that's another reason why I don't like to leave my foundation unset. So I just went ahead and finished up the rest of my face off camera. Now all we have left to do is set. So when it comes to setting spray, I usually would use the MAC Fix Plus or the Catrice one. I like more of a fixing spray. I've come to notice that an actual setting spray, sometimes I find that setting sprays can just feel a little bit heavy on the face, like the Urban Decay All Nighter. I don't really love how that feels on the skin. I do like the Too Faced Hangover RX one, but typically day to day I will just go ahead and finish off my makeup with the Fix Plus. But since I did prep the skin with this today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how the Catrice one looks when I set the face with this. This one does have a little bit of a heavier, more intense mist, so I always like to do a test spray, and then I like to hold this pretty far away just so the mist really falls onto the face. So that is going to complete this video, you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing my updated foundation routine and all of the drugstore alternatives. Definitely, I would say I don't have a preference when it comes to high-end or drugstore makeup, but like I said, I definitely think drugstore does the foundation really well, and I just wanted to show you guys that you can get a long-lasting full coverage base with a bunch of different drugstore products. But of course, like you guys saw, I do have my high-end holy grails, but you could always switch everything out for your personal preference. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up because it really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here, and also make sure you guys have my notifications on. That way you guys will get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.